So I had a lot of hospital visits. They had to do a lot of work to my face and my hand. So they cut a nerve on my hand. Well, he cut a nerve on my hand, and basically the science at the time was just grab one end, grab the other end, and just glue it together and hope for the best. And it may come back, but it comes back like a millimetre a day. So I didn't have any sensation in my hand, in this part of my hand, and it feels different to the other parts of my hand. The sensation's not quite the same. So I had physio to learn to use my hand again, and my scar hadn't healed well at all. It had went quite thick, so I had to go and get a procedure where they inject steroids into your face, and it's like they have to inject a little bit, move it on, inject a little bit, inject a little bit, and it was, I remember going in, they told me, look, this is going to be painful, and I had thought, it'll be okay. And we went in and they said, we've got a student nurse here, you can hold her hand if it gets too sore. And I was like, I might want to hold her hand anyway. And I nearly broke that girl's hand. The pain was incredible. I think one of the worst times I had with people asking about it and pointing at it was the year after. So between when I was 19, before the court case and before getting it redone. And it did look a lot worse than it does now. I went on a boys' trip to McLeish's. I think maybe the type of people that go to McLeish's, they don't. They're not the politest of people, a lot of them. So I was getting a lot of fingers in my face, going, "What happened to your face? What happened to your face?" As if you can just do that to a person, as if you can just go up and point at somebody and say, "What happened? Why is that there?" Or like you. So it was a depressing thing, and it was getting to me. So I was ending up having a great time during the day with my friends, going out for one drink with them, and then just disappearing back to the hotel myself. And I came home, and my mum had said, "How was holiday?" And I said, it wasn't great, to be honest. And she was like, why's that? And I said, I told her. She was like, "Why didn't you tell me? We could have got you a flight home." I was like, "Oh, that'd have been too much money." And over the years, people have asked about it, and especially in the first few years, a load of people asked about it, and it didn't bother me, but I felt like I had an obligation to try and say that, look, it wasn't my fault. Like, I had to tell them that it wasn't my fault. And at uni and places where, and people don't mean to be mean, and they don't mean to make people feel bad, but some people are just curious. But I guess there's a way you can ask. But for me, I think if somebody had a scar on their face, I wouldn't be asking them. I went to uni for another 5 or 6 years, and then decided that I wanted to be an air traffic controller. So I applied for NATS. I got into NATS, and I moved down to Bournemouth, and then I have been working at the Prestwick Centre for the last 15, 16 years as a controller. Other than actually like having to do stuff for like hospitals and the police and court and stuff, it hasn't really impacted my life much after that, and as the years have went on, it's impacted it much less. So for myself, the biggest impact I've had from it was my family's reaction. I think it hurt my family more than it hurt me, being the victim of knife crime, and I really do. And I spent a lot of time getting them to a place where they are now okay with what happened to me, and we actually found out recently that the guy who attacked me passed away, and my whole family's reaction to that wasn't, "I'm delighted." It was more a, "Feel sorry, what a waste of a life." And that's what we don't want. We don't want more wasted lives, be it victims or the actual people carrying out the attacks. I'm not sure how much I relate to young guys carrying knives, and now you see them carrying machetes, and I just don't see the point in why they would think they would need to carry a knife. You carry it, you're going to risk using it, and if you use it, then your life's going to be over. It's definitely not a world you want to be getting into. I don't think social media has helped, because obviously you see a lot of. It doesn't matter what social media you go into. You don't have to you don't have to click to accept to see something. Sometimes you're just showing it, and if you don't scroll past it fast enough, you see some pretty horrific things. So I don't think that massively helps. I don't think young people fully think about any consequences. I think young boys will just think they can get away with being daft young boys, and they think it's just silly and a carry on. But silly and a carry on turns into life-changing consequences very quickly, and that's not just for yourself. That's for your families, your loved ones. Young men listening to my story on both sides. So I hope that they think twice about carrying a knife or machete, and really think about whether or not what's going to happen to their lives if they use it, because their life quality is going to drastically decrease if they carry knives and use them. On the other hand, to the victims of knife crime, I hope that my story gives them a bit of light, and to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there is a life after being attacked, and you don't have to let it define you. I certainly look at it now as a really positive part of me, and I think I've done a lot of good things in my life, and like I've got a good job and getting married, and I think the thing I'm proudest of most is how I overcame that and how I dealt with that. And yeah, that I'm really proud of the way that I took a really bad situation and I decided I would turn that into a good situation. So for people who think it's not going to impact them, my story is a perfect example of that. I was head boy at my school. I was going to a top university. I was a pretty good student. I was minding my own business. I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And a lot of people at the time were like, I can't believe that's happened to Dave. And well, it did happen. It did happen. And I've got another friend who is in a very similar position, who is a very quiet guy, and he got attacked by, it was by a golf club, but he has a scar from it as well, so it can happen to anybody. I think we all should be working towards making Scotland knife-free, and we can all play a part in that, and education's a big part of it. But yeah, community and family, parents with their sons can chat to them and let them know the dangers and the actual life-lasting effects